I'm not sure I agree with that. Like, you never know what things will crop up, right? At the local level. And I think one of the things, I'm not a huge fan of the online schooling, right? I had a kindergartner in a Los Angeles Unified School District kindergarten who was, doing Zoom school every day, and not a huge fan of that. But that said, there are models of online schooling that can work, right? And for students like that who are remote, right? Just like a person who's who lives in the rural United States, perhaps 100 years ago, they're not going to be able to hear, right, the best music in the world. Now we have technologies where the best music in the world is available to everyone, right? And there are forms of education that work online, and those are going to be particularly valuable in places with fewer people, right? And this question about choice, you as a society, we have sort of a fork in the road. We can either assign children to schools, right? Or we can give parents and families choice. And there is no other way to do it. And the assigning children to school, like assigning children to schools, that just sounds very Soviet. And the reason it sounds very Soviet is because it is very Soviet, right? That doesn't, the government, whoever assigns your child to a school doesn't know that your kid loves to dance, or that she struggles with emotional regulation, right? Or that he's really good at math, right? The person who assigns your child to a school doesn't know your child at all, right? And one thing I fear about these policies of allocating schools based on where people live is that it encourages a certain degree of complacency. And I think it does that up and down the income spectrum. I don't think it's good for rich people. I don't think it's good for poor people. I don't think it's good for middle class people. I think it causes a lot of problems. So many people pick schools in this country for their children just because they're like, well, people like me live in that neighborhood. I'm going to move up there. I'm going to send my kids to whatever school is there. And I don't, I think it has led to complacency for parents. And these policies also impact parents up and down the economic spectrum. Like, I talked to a middle income family, for example, that had to sell their home because they bought a premium home in one of these privileged zones, one of these privileged districts with high achievement, because everyone else was doing it. Then they realized, wait, this isn't a good fit for our kids. They had to sell the home where they raised their daughters and move 2 miles down the street, right? I talked to another family in Malibu, right? Malibu is one of the wealthiest areas of Los Angeles, where one of my friend's mothers admitted to me, yeah, we didn't think the Malibu schools were right for our kids, so we purchased our neighbor's gas bill to get the kid into Santa Monica High School, right? Like, there are people lying about their addresses up and down the economic spectrum. Like, I couldn't believe the people who came out of the woodwork to talk about lying about their address up and down the economic spectrum when I was writing this book. And then you've got districts hiring private investigators to follow kids home from school to make sure that they're going to the school that they were told to by the government. There is nothing more Eastern, kind of Soviet era Eastern European than that, right? You get tip lines like, call in if your kid has a play date with one of their classmates and it's not in your neighborhood, make sure to call this tip line and turn them in. That is just ugly.